Hello, my name is Paul Micarelli, and this is my son Paul Giuseppe, and we are thinking aloud. And the topic that we're going to be thinking about today, as I try to speak over Paulie's blue boy-colored snow cap, is gender. And gender is, like some of the topics I've talked about already, an interesting topic. There's a lot of debate going on right now between, people who are fighting for, LGBTQT plus rights and the rights for people to kind of find and claim their own identities versus people who see gender in a very binary perspective, male, female, heterosexual kind of perspective. And like all things, I try to find a neutral ground. I try to look at things from a objective point of view, as like a neutral observer. I have feelings and opinions about things, but I also try to take my opinion out of it and try to see things objectively if possible. And gender is one of those things that definitely has a biological basis. There's clearly a male and female binary kind of system that biology has developed in certain species, including ours. And what that means is that you need male sperm and a female egg combined to produce a new life. And this is a biological truth, but just because it's a biological truth doesn't mean it's an absolute truth, and doesn't mean it's a law written in stone that people need to abide by. Because if that was the case, and we strictly follow natural law, then people shouldn't be wearing glasses, they shouldn't have artificial prosthesis, they shouldn't have life-saving surgery or anything that is not in the natural order that preserves or improves life. So I'm of what you, I guess, would call more liberal or progressive mindset. I think people should identify with whatever the hell they want to identify with, as long as they're not causing harm onto another human being against their will. And some of it is kind of uncomfortable. I'm a heterosexual male and never had really any gay or any other kind of relationships outside of that. But it doesn't bother me at all if people choose to have that kind of relationship. It doesn't bother me if people identify as a woman even though they were born as a man. It doesn't bother me if people are bisexual or interested in both sexes. I mean, to me, it's pretty much, like I said, I think people should be able to live their truth and live their life the way they want to live it, as long as you're not impeding on somebody else's life. That's the important thing. And I think the problem is that a lot of people who are against these I don't know what you would say, alternative lifestyles, are just uncomfortable with it themselves. And when they feel like it's getting rammed into their life and that they're being kind of forced into accepting it, I think it's just their fear of, that kind of mindset, that fear, that circumstance. They feel threatened by it. And there's a lot of, kind of difficult topics that are happening right now that we're trying to grapple with as a society. including, whether trans athletes should be allowed in sports and how, that should work, with the whole bathroom situation. Should trans individuals be allowed to go into certain bathrooms? And everybody's always, afraid for the children. And that's, the first step to usually cutting off somebody's rights, is to say, once you think of the children, and, we shouldn't do this. And listen, there may be some validity to being cautious about these kind of gray areas and, making sure they're not abused. But I think a lot of it, for the percentage of people that it actually affects, which is very small, I think it's very much overhyped, and there's very much a fear factor by those people who want to keep the status quo to oppress people that they don't understand or don't agree with. So as far as like the athlete kind of scenario, I think it's very difficult. I think, if there's somebody who has male hormones and is basically biologically a male, and they're trying to compete in women's sports, there's obviously a crazy advantage there. Again, the statistics of how many people that affects is very small, but it's something that has to be kind of hashed out so that any kind of conflict or any kind of problems can be prevented. Gender, again, is definitely like a biological phenomenon, but there's so many things where we've transcended biology, transcended our natural, or quote unquote natural state, that to me that's not really an argument to keep it. And as we move forward into the future, and we're seeing now, like with virtual life, that people can basically choose any avatar or any kind of identity that they want, whether it's in a game or online. It's really kind of just breaking the whole thing wide open as far as what people can use to identify themselves. And I think that's good. I think this physical form, it's a limitation, and it's just temporary, and we should be able to play with who we are and what our mind wants to experience. And I think my son here, he's kind of a very masculine personality. He's very rough, he's very strong, he's very bullheaded, but he's also very sweet. Right now he's a little fussy, right buddy? But I would like to think I try to be open to whatever he chooses to be, and I'll just try to give him the best guidance that I can for each stage of his life. And that's all you can do as a parent. And as an individual, what you have to do is kind of really search your own soul and figure out what makes you happy, and in the long term, what is going to make you a fulfilled person. And some people have these short-term kind of thoughts and feelings, and it might be short-lived. And it's really difficult, especially with teenagers and young people, that they might not know who they are. So to kind of mandate or to try to force them to figure out who or what they are is always difficult, because that's always in flux. So if you're still listening while my son is fussing a little bit here, I'm just going to end it on saying that the universe starts off as binary. Everything emerged from the one and split into the two and split into the many, and that's kind of the the situation we find with our human biology. It doesn't mean we have to stick to it. It doesn't mean we can't explore other avenues. So I think it always goes back to just doing what makes you happy, as long as you are not impeding on anybody else's happiness either. So on that note, we'll end it for now, and I'll continue my walk here with Paulie, and hopefully we'll be back for another talk, and we'll be thinking aloud. Thanks for watching.